Have you ever stared at a blank document for hours, knowing exactly what you need to do, yet feeling completely paralyzed? You tell yourself you're just waiting for the right mood or the perfect inspiration. Or maybe you suddenly decide that your entire room needs to be deep cleaned right this very second. Society calls you lazy. Your teachers or bosses call you unmotivated. You probably call yourself lazy too, accompanied by a heavy dose of guilt. But what if I told you that your procrastination has absolutely nothing to do with laziness? What if I told you that you aren't avoiding the work because you don't care, but because you care entirely too much? Welcome to Mind Tweezer, where we pull apart the complex knots of human behavior to show you the simple truth underneath. Today, we are putting procrastination under the lens to reveal the hidden culprit, perfectionism. When we think of a perfectionist, we usually picture someone who is highly organized, impeccably dressed, and always overachieving. But the reality of perfectionism is much darker and much messier. True perfectionism isn't about having high standards. It's a rigid, suffocating belief system known as all or nothing thinking. In the mind of a perfectionist, there is no middle ground. A project is either a breathtaking masterpiece or it is a complete and utter failure. An exam is either an A+ or you are worthless. When the stakes are set this impossibly high, starting a task feels like stepping onto a tightrope without a safety net. Think about a blank canvas. Right now, it is pure, clean, and full of infinite potential. It is perfect. But the moment you make that first brushstroke, you introduce the possibility of making a mistake. You transition from the safe realm of perfect potential to the terrifying reality of flawed execution. So what does your brain do to protect you from this anxiety? It tells you to wait. It tells you to delay. Here is the core psychological truth you need to understand. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's an emotion regulation problem. When you think about starting that difficult task, your brain triggers a stress response. You feel self-doubt, fear of judgment, and the terrifying pressure of having to be flawless. Your brain, wanting to protect you from these negative emotions, seeks immediate relief. And how do you get immediate relief? By watching one more YouTube video, by organizing your desk, by doing literally anything else. This is an ego protection mechanism. If you wait until the very last minute to start an essay and you end up getting a bad grade, your ego is safe. You can tell yourself, well, I only spent 2 hours on it. If I had more time, it would have been perfect. Procrastination gives you a built-in excuse for imperfection. It allows you to maintain the fantasy of your own perfection because you never gave yourself the chance to actually try your best. Perfectionists are also chronic victims of the perfect timing illusion. You tell yourself, I'll start my diet on Monday. I'll start writing when I buy that new expensive keyboard. I'll film my first video when I lose 10 pounds. You are waiting for a magical moment where you feel 100% motivated, 100% fearless, and 100% prepared. But psychologically speaking, that moment does not exist. Action does not follow motivation. Motivation follows action. By waiting for the perfect conditions, you are handing the remote control of your life over to an imaginary future self who never actually arrives. So, how do we break out of this paralyzing cycle? How do we defeat the perfectionist trap? You don't need a better planner or a stricter schedule. You need to lower the bar. You need to give yourself radical permission to be mediocre. Writers call this the shitty first draft. The only goal of the first draft is to exist. It doesn't have to be good, it just has to be on paper. When you tell yourself, I am going to write the worst paragraph ever written in human history, you completely remove the pressure. You bypass the brain's anxiety alarm. Try the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you will only work on the task for exactly 5 minutes and do it poorly. Once you break the seal of starting, the anxiety dissipates and you'll often find yourself continuing for hours. Remember, done is better than perfect. A flawed, imperfect project that actually exists in the real world is infinitely more valuable than a perfect masterpiece that lives in your head. Stop punishing yourself for being lazy and start forgiving yourself for being human. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to be a beginner. If this video helped you untangle your thoughts today, hit the like button and subscribe to Mind Tweezer. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And right now, close this app and go do that thing you've been avoiding. Do it terribly, but do it today. See you next time.